Some of you may have missed some talking points. We're going to give you an opportunity to listen, and then we'll, of course, talk on some of the issues presented at this news conference. This is Q95 and this is Talk on the Block. Let's do this and come back.
KFC. KFC. Looking for some place to go. Emails for so. KFC. Grab your family and your friends. Join in the experience. KFC. It's the place to be. Made for you and me. KFC. KFC. It's finger licking good.
Dominica Softball Cricket Association, in collaboration with the Elias Dupuy Foundation, proudly presents the Elias Dupuy Tape Ball Cricket Festival, all in honor of the late Elias Dupuy. Join us Easter Sunday and Easter Monday at the Ansdume Playing Field in the northeast of the island for 2 days of softball cricket action. Games begin 11 a.m. on Easter Sunday and 9 a.m. on Easter Monday, featuring top teams from the north and northeast of Dominica, including Benz, Faybush, Penville, Calabishi, Marigot, Wesley, Woodford Hill, and Portsmouth, all competing for over $3,000 in prizes. Make this Easter one to remember with thrilling cricket, community spirit, and great entertainment. April 5th and 6th at the Ansdume Playing Field. Catch the action live on radio, Facebook, YouTube, and the television. Come out and support the Elias Dupuy Tape Ball Cricket Festival, where the Northeast will come alive with cricket. Lovely cricket.
Only challenges. If we do have it, there are ways of managing it to prevent you from having a premature death or even causing yourself to develop associated illnesses to those chronic diseases. And I believe that the country and the society, we need to do more.
The Prime Minister started this news conference speaking to
on
chronic
and
diseases,
recognizing that this is a societal challenge and it requires the education and the knowledge of all concerned, from our children to ourselves and our grandparents and our parents, to understand how we can prevent ourselves from contracting those, and also how we can treat these diseases. I know in the Ministry of Health and the government system, I projected based on my own studies that we spend about 75% of the pharmaceutical bill on treating CNCDs. On treating. And I think that we need to ramp up our efforts towards prevention. Because as they always say, prevention is better than cure. And there's no cure for those diseases, unfortunately. And I see too many people are succumbing to this. But sometimes when they get to the health facility, it is really too late, because we do not engage those persons, their families are engaged in proper management of that disease. So I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but from my experience and my interaction with the citizens of this country, I understand that this is a national emergency. It's a national concern. And so very soon I will convene a consultation on this matter to ensure that we bring greater clarity and greater focus on this very concerning issue. And we must not wait for it to affect us. To provide our support, we have to ensure that we do it now, and to allow our families and friends, members of our family and our friends to live a little longer. I mean, there's a lot who take it, but sometimes I think we find ourselves maybe going too soon than expected, or we would want as your family and your friends. I also want to speak about the confirmation and registration process that's ongoing in Dominica. First, I want to take a few moments to address the issue of voter registration and confirmation, which I know has been on the minds of many Dominicans over the past several months. The resumption of voter registration on March 9th is, of course, a welcome development. It is an important step forward, but I think we must acknowledge, quite frankly, that it comes after a delay that does cause understandable concern, and in many cases frustration among the public. As I stated in the Parliament last month, the law is very clear. Voter registration is intended to be continuous. It is a fundamental part of our democratic system, and so for periods for several months, when many eligible citizens, especially young people who had just reached voting age, were unable to register, it created a situation that we should have allowed to reason. I think it's important to put this in context. The Electoral Commission has been provided with a legislative framework to carry out its responsibility under the Registration of Electors Act 2025. It has also been supported in strengthening and modernizing the system, including through the procurement of new biometric technology and the resources necessary to facilitate the voter registration and confirmation processes. Where concerns were raised about accessibility, particularly for persons without formal identification, the government engaged the Commission, and I'm satisfied that steps have been taken to ensure that the process reflects the intent of Parliament and does not place any citizen at a disadvantage. This refers to the reinstatement to the ID requirements for persons without government-issued identification. So that issue has been set aside completely, and I hope that there's no complaints about this particular issue. And of course, the law provides for this. The issue now is ensuring that the work is carried out in a timely, efficient, and transparent manner. People want to see progress. They want to know that they can visit the center and in their communities or nearby, register, confirm their details, receive their voter ID cards in a timely manner, and have confidence that the system is working as it should. And that confidence, is critical because our electoral system must not only be fair, it must be seen to be fair. Now, on the issue of ID cards, as I understand it, the Electoral Commission had in fact ordered ID cards. My understanding further is that they would have made further changes to the design of the ID cards, and they will be soon receiving the new ID cards, and so people will start receiving their ID cards. And so I'm happy that the Commission has made that important progress. But I think had it not been for the change, based on what they're saying, in the design, they would have been issuing ID cards to Dominicans who the confirmation has been approved by the Chief Election Officer as per the law. And so we need to ensure that all of the rights of everyone is adhered to. But I do not believe in any shape or form that the delay in continuous registration would impact any election in Dominica. Any village council election, any city council election, any town council election, and certainly the general elections in our country. In respect to geothermal energy, on the geothermal plant in Loda in the Roseau Valley, we are making good progress, and the project is now in an advanced stage of testing. Both generating units have already been tested, producing power and confirming that the plant is functioning well. Over the coming days, final adjustments will be made as we continue full performance testing. At the same time, work on the transmission network, which will carry electricity from the plant to homes and businesses, is well advanced and nearing completion. At the Fokole substation all major components required to receive up to 10 megawatts from the geothermal plant are currently being installed and tested as we prepare for the transition to the main transmission line. Some elements of the wider network, including the Trafalgar and Pardo substations, will be completed later this year, but this will not prevent the plant from beginning operations. Overall, we are very encouraged by the progress. This project will significantly reduce our dependence on imported fuel, lower electricity costs over time, and strengthen Dominica's position as a leader in clean and green energy. One will appreciate the positive impact which geothermal energy will have, especially when petroleum prices are expected to rise. And of course, we have no control over those prices. They're all imported. We don't produce fuel in Dominica. This is one of the main reasons why this government has remained committed to pursuing geothermal energy. It has taken some time. It has been costly. But in the long run, we believe that this will redound to the benefit of our country and everyone who lives in our country. And so we're very pleased that we've made tremendous progress on this and look forward to the Dominican citizens benefiting from this. And I said, in a time when the volatility of oil prices, petroleum prices, is there with the Iran war and so forth, and we expect to be impacted. You see, for example, the price of petroleum products at the pump in the United States have gone up. Literally days after the war started. For us, we have a 3-week cycle, so we are certain by the next cycle you will see an increase in the petroleum prices, and of course we'll speak to that, I'm sure. In regards to DEBOSH and the international airport, we continue to comply fully with the guidance of the Physical Planning Division and are actively engaged in the established approval process. All required procedures are being followed, and the relevant technical teams remain in close coordination with the regulatory authorities to ensure that every aspect of the project meets national standards and expectations. This is a process, and we respect that process. At the same time, preparatory works and planning activities are being responsibly managed to ensure that once all approvals are finalized, the project can proceed efficiently and without unnecessary delay. Any activity currently ongoing on the site, that is at the DEBOSH site, is in full compliance with permission granted by the Physical Planning and Development Authority to install the crusher equipment on the site. I want to emphasize that contrary to public pronouncements from some, current activity at DEBOSH is within the permit of the law.
For many years in London,
so there's no violation of any law.
Retired and back living in Dominica, enjoying
again,
his pension.
And for the avoidance of any doubt, there is no mining for copper, gold, diamonds, silver. The truth is, I wish we could find somewhere in Dominica where we can get gold and diamonds. But they will not mining for copper in DEBOSH or any other metals or minerals from beneath the Earth's surface at DEBOSH. We are only engaged in quarry activity solely and absolutely for the purpose of the international airport. And once the airport stops needing such material, activities at DEBOSH will come to an immediate halt. So the quarrying operations which we would like to engage ourselves as a nation at DEBOSH is solely and absolutely for the international airport. And so if those who are protesting against copper mining, I'm telling you, you're wasting your time, because there's no such thing taking place or intends to take place at DEBOSH. So I want to make this point. And it is really time for us to put this mischievous and politically motivated allegation to rest. What is planned for DEBOSH is a quarrying operation to extract construction materials for the international airport. That's all. There's nothing else. You understand? There's nothing else. Yes, we accept that the environment will be impacted. This is why you conduct an environmental impact assessment study. Anything you do, from building a house, a road, a school, a hospital, you're doing a farm, whatever it is, whether it's on land or sea, is going to be impacted. But in every report, it cites the impact, but it also makes recommendations how to mitigate against the impact. That's simple. And if we're saying, if those who are opposed to it are saying that they are concerned about the impact on the environment, what are you recommending to mitigate against it? You say you have access to scientists. That's what scientists will do. Anything you do, you understand? So let's understand this and so on. And so once the airport stop needing aggregate for its construction, we will stop the impact. But our aim is to restore the environment. And you can do that. We have done this before, it can be done. And so we will seek to restore 100% of the ecological environment of Debwash. And so anything you do will have an impact. But we in the government remain committed to delivering this transformative national investment, that is the international airport, in a manner that is both responsible and forward-looking. As I've said before, the international airport is a strategic investment in Dominica's future, which will unlock opportunities for tourism, trade, job creation, and long-term economic growth for people. We just cannot, as a nation, rely on the limited capacity of Douglas Charles to grow our economy to our satisfaction. When young people go to universities and they come back with their first degrees and master's degrees and PhDs and so on, they're looking for particular jobs. They look at particular pay. The people who are investing in the tourism-related services need to ensure that we have more consumers of the goods and services. If we can build all the hotel rooms we have, if we cannot bring people in to occupy them, you have no ballast. Because we turn them into housing units. The person who is investing $200,000 in a coaster bus, he's not buying it to transport us because he's not going to run Maho and Port and Rosa. No, he's looking to transport tourists coming to Dominica. That's the only way he's going to pay his bus back. The lady in Calavishi and the young man in Calavishi who has a restaurant, invariably, he did not build a restaurant for you and me. He built for tourists to come in. And if they don't come in the numbers that we expect them to come, then his investment will not be of any value to him. And for us to grow GDP, we must produce more. And how do we produce more? By subjecting ourselves to an airport that has been impacted storm after storm. Tropical Storm Erica. After Tropical Storm Erica, we spent over $200 million to fix Douglas Charles Airport. How many times can we fix the Douglas Charles Airport? That kind of money, when we all know that storms are going to come. And other countries that are moving ahead because they have international airport. Investors will come if they can come in. People will come if they have access. Somebody who has to stop in the island, then come to Dominica, will choose to stay in the island that they make the first stop. And we have what the world wants. Tranquility, peace, nature, a place where you can get rejuvenated. But everybody, rich or poor, especially rich people, watch every dollar they spend. And so we have to push for this. And this is why we say that the airport is a strategic investment in Dominica's future, which will unlock opportunities in tourism, trade, job creation, and long-term economic growth for our people. This is why we pursue geothermal. We could have said, let's abandon it. But because this is so crucial, our farmers need to sell more. How do we get flowers exported and be fresh in somebody's as a gift to someone? Not by sending it in a container or sending it in a cargo vessel. No, that's be flown. So these are things that we have to stand for in our country. And so there has been an unavoidable delay at the airport because of this, because the tunnel had to be stopped because we don't have the material that is required. The last thing you want is to build an airport, and then when a plane lands, there's a sinkhole in the runway, or the tunnel collapsed because the material wasn't there. So we have to pay attention to this thing. But that notwithstanding, we are pressing ahead, and the project remains on track, and we thank God for that, and the contractors and developers. We see steady progress on the runway foundations, the landside facilities, including the terminal building and the tunnel, are progressing. Obviously, there's a stop on the tunnel, but you will see the terminal buildings and the associated buildings really, taking really good shape. And so we are mindful that there will always be voices seeking to delay, disrupt, or derail progress. That is not new. And make no mistake about it, while we respect and welcome the right of every and any Dominican to speak up in defense of the environment, it is equally clear that in many instances, these actors are driven by political motives. But the government will not be distracted. We will not be derailed in our efforts towards bringing greater economic prosperity to our people and creating more opportunities for the young people of this country. And so we call on all who genuinely care about the future of this country to act responsibly, to engage constructively, and to allow the process to work. We remain open to dialogue with all concerned parties. And so those who oppose, tell us why you oppose and give us your suggestions. We haven't received those. You understand? We haven't received those. And the government will do its part, ensuring that there's compliance, safeguarding the environment, and advancing development in a balanced and sustainable way. The other issue I want to speak about is the Third Country National Arrangement. That's the TCNA with the United States of America. The agreement was formally signed on March 18, 2026 by Dominica's ambassador to the United States of America. Importantly, this arrangement is non-binding, and Dominica retains full discretion at all times. This means we have the authority to accept or reject any individual. We also maintain the right to refuse entry to persons with a criminal history, and we will have advanced access to relevant medical and security information before any decision is made. On the operational side, our technical team continues to do the necessary preparatory work. A meeting was held with the International Organization of Migration on March 10 to discuss their support in executing the arrangement. The framework for the standing operating procedures has been completed, and the team met on Tuesday, that is yesterday, to finalize the procedures for our ports of entry. At this time, we have not received any information regarding the timing of the first transfer or the identities of any individuals. So in other words, no request has been made on the government of Dominica so far to accept anyone. We will continue to keep the public informed as more details become available. And I want to assure the Dominican people that the process will be managed carefully, responsibly, and in our national interests. The National Employment Program. Since its inception, the National Employment Program, the NEP, has provided a pathway for on-the-job training and skills development, equipping young people with the experience needed for full-time employment within the workforce. Over the past 12 years, the program has delivered meaningful results, supporting the transition of hundreds of interns into sustainable employment across both the public and private sector. Notably, more than 300 individuals have advanced to permanent or acting positions within the public service. The government of Dominica is pleased to announce a significant milestone in its commitment to empowering citizens through sustainable employment opportunities. As part of our ongoing efforts to support the workforce and foster economic stability, individuals who have been actively engaged with the National Employment Program for 5 years or more in the public service will be transitioned into full-time public service positions. This initiative will focus on interns who have served for more than 5 years, who meet the entry requirements, hold an associate degree or higher qualification, and perform substantive roles, and have demonstrated consistent and satisfactory job performance. This transition represents a natural and strategic evolution of the NEP, strengthening the capacity of the public service while recognizing the contribution and commitment of these young professionals. It follows the recent regularization of over 110 non-established officers and forms part of the government's broader agenda to enhance job security and benefits to temporary officers within the public service. This initiative will bring long-serving NEP workers into the public service establishment, recognizes the dedication, skills, and contributions of these citizens to our national development. By offering permanent positions, we aim to provide security, benefits, and growth opportunities, enabling them to better serve our communities and contribute to Dominica's progress. We commend the hard work of all participants and look forward to your continued commitment to public service. So this is a major milestone with respect to the NEP. And this policy decision will also extend to government statutory boards and agencies. Members of the media, citizens of Dominica, this is a time of growing uncertainty in the international community. The escalating conflict involving the United States, Israel, and Iran is a matter of grave global concern. While Dominica is far removed from the theater of conflict, we are not insulated from its consequences. In today's interconnected world, events thousands of miles away will have significant effects on our daily lives, on the price of fuel, the cost of food, the stability of jobs, and the strength of our economy. Let me be clear, Dominica is not in danger of war, but we are exposed to the economic aftershocks of this conflict that has already caused the largest supply disruption in the history of global oil markets. The most immediate risk we face is a sharp increase in global oil prices. We import all of our fuel, and high oil prices, and of course, it will affect electricity costs, transportation, and the price of goods and services across our economy. We face rising costs of imported food and essential supplies as global shipping routes and supply chains experience disruption. At the same time, there may be a slowdown in global travel and investment, which could affect tourism and inflows into our economy. Your government has not waited for the situation to worsen. We are actively and decisively working to protect the people of Dominica. Over the coming days and weeks, we will implement a series of targeted measures designed to cushion the impact on households and businesses. First, we will introduce targeted relief measures to help manage the rising cost of living. This will include temporary reductions on duties and taxes on essential goods and increased support for vulnerable households through our social protection programs. Second, we are taking steps to manage energy costs. We will work closely with the Dominica Electricity Services to moderate the impact of rising fuel prices on electricity tariffs. And of course, geothermal is coming just at the opportune time. Third, we will protect jobs and economic activity. We will engage with stakeholders in tourism, agriculture, and the private sector to ensure continuity and resilience during this period. Fourth, we are strengthening our fiscal management, carefully prioritizing government spending to ensure that critical services are maintained while some discretionary expenditures are deferred. And so we continue to monitor, and as you can see, we have been already working towards taking action to mitigate against the impact. And these are the things that we have no control over that impact us. That's what we call external shock, exogenous shock. And so we have to prepare for it. So we have no control over it, but we have to find solutions to the problems and the challenges which they create. And then it affects the government's fiscal position. But we certainly, as we've done, will always keep putting the people first and ensuring that in this period that we carry the people along this difficult time. And so this also reminds us of a collective responsibility that we have not given the importance. We must reduce our dependence on imported fuel and food. That is why a government will accelerate investment in renewable energy, which will provide more stable and affordable electricity for our people. We will also expand support for local agriculture so that more of what we consume is grown right here in Dominica. This is not only a response to the crisis, this is strengthening commitment and strategy implementation in a successful manner and on a path to greater national resilience and self-reliance. I understand the anxiety that rising prices can bring. I understand the pressure that families may feel in the weeks ahead. But I ask you to remain calm, to remain united, and to remain confident in our ability to weather the economic fallout from the escalating conflict in the Middle East. Dominica has faced far greater challenges before, from hurricanes to global pandemics, and we have emerged stronger each time. This government of the people, by the people, and for the people will continue to act in your best interest. We will keep you informed, and we will stand with you every step of the way. This is a moment of steady leadership, responsible action, and national solidarity. Together, we will navigate these global challenges. Together, we will protect our people. And together, we will continue to build in a stronger, more resilient Dominica. I thank you for the courtesy of listening to me, and I will end now to allow for questions from the press. Thank you so much.
You heard your Prime Minister addressing some issues there. Third Country Nationals, Dave Bosch, NEP leadership, among many others. Somebody started asking me, man, where's the Minister of Health? Not the one speaking to these health issues. Where's the minister responsible for geothermal? Speak to this issue. It appears that the Prime Minister is responsible for every ministry. Some of the comments coming forward there. Let's go back to the telephone. Are you there? Yes. Hello.
What's up?
Yes. How you doing? How you doing?
I good. Matt, you ever had one of those? You remember them old cassette players when you rewind in it? Sometimes it used to stick. You ever had one?
It's sticking. Yes, I had many.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I rewind one of mine now. So I'll tell you where I reach.
Okay.
I reach in the Daybosh versus Crapo Hall story now. And I heard Mr. Brisbane yesterday talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
But in the rewind, you know what I discovered? That Clarence Christian, on 2 occasions, had a very long discussion with you on why, if they just lift the ban on Crapo Hall, it would be suitable. So how come now it become an issue of where the stones better? I want you to, Clarence, to answer that for me. Okay?
So
The other
you're
thing
saying
again,
all of a sudden the bunch is better than Quapo Hall?
all of a sudden the bunch get better. It's like, I don't know if the Crapo is Crapo Hall and jumping the bush, I don't know. But it look like all of a sudden the bush have better stone than Crapo.
And actually, you're right. He blamed Edison James for stopping the project because of the.
Yeah, they love Edison James, man, because he has been so successful and he proved himself between 95 and 2000 to be the best prime minister of Dominica, most successful. So that pricking them, they must call his name every now and then, you know, maybe to get a little inspiration. And I guess every time the Creole Festival come in, they get in a little jittery, they must remember him again because that's the economic driver for Dominica now. Number 2, a special message to the people below 25. We could have been enjoying an international airport for 1/3 of the cost, okay? 700,000 to 2.1. No. We would have had that airport. Like I said, the lands were paid for. Tony Stephen was very excited and impressed. He couldn't contain himself. He gave that government a lot of praise for that. And then the Labour Party came and they just squashed that. They decided, no, we don't want that. If we do that, it will be we will be building on a foundation of the United Workers' Party, and that's not good for our history. We want to dig ourselves. It's the same way they dig out the stadium there. Remember they put 10 million in the sea. They just don't like progress in this country. So tell the Prime Minister, stop trying to fool the young people. And young people, do your research for yourself. As taxpayers' money, and I still pay taxes at my age, we have to pay more money for the airport now. You understand? We could have saved that money. In fact, maybe we could have a free international airport. One in the south, one in the north, and one in the center. Have a good day.
Have a good day. 4493095. Now, somebody's saying to me now, the Prime Minister is breaking the law. He's excavating in protected areas, and he's saying he's only breaking the law for a short time. As soon as the airport is completed, I'll stop breaking the law. The reporters are focusing on the wrong thing. So yes, he's saying, I'm breaking the law, but allow me to take the stones, and when the airport is complete, that's the point somebody's saying, then I'll stop breaking the law. Huh? That's his interpretation.
So, Matt, you see what I was saying this morning? I was when I sent you a message and I was saying, we don't hold nobody foot to the fire. Where was our representation? One person talks for everything. So what can we do now? We have no information, we have nothing, we just hear it. Or sometimes when we listen, it's just music to our ears. Nothing is going on. You're talking about production and food and eat what we grow. Oh, I mean, I don't know, man. Where's the road? You need quality. You need quantity and you need quality. We need road. You understand? So we know where man does talk. Does talk, no action. Action speaks louder than word, man. All right? I don't have no problem with the Prime Minister. What do you say? I just need action. Words is nothing. All right.
And let's go back to the telephone. Yes.
Matt, good afternoon. This is Clarence Christian.
Yes, Mr. Clarence Christian.
You have a habit of cutting me up or questioning me. The lady spoke and you never questioned her. Let me explain to the lady what happened under Edison James and the airport. First, I'm saying Edison James, the UWP, was not going to build any airport. They could not have built an airport. And I'll tell you why. Matt, sometimes in 1997, CARIFORUM, that is the CARICOM Minister of met in Guyana, and they had the EU head, the head of the European Union at that meeting. At that meeting, the European Union gave CARIFORUM, that is its foreign ministers, the equivalent of EC $30 million to share among themselves for upgrade of an existing airport or facilities in that regard. 30 million. Norris Charles, who was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, he is alive and he can tell you, told the CARIFORUM, instead of the sharing the money among the 13 or so CARICOM islands that give it to Dominica to upgrade their airports. That went on for a year, and then probably Edison James called the head of government, and then CARIFORUM agreed to give Dominica all of the money, the $30 million. When they had the money, they make a decision to build an airport. But they had only 30 million. That money was deposited in an account, in an escrow account, because that's where the EU, any money that was assigned to Dominica, the EU was depositing it in an escrow account at the Royal Bank of Canada. But government could not withdraw it. EU had to sign the checks for it to withdraw from it. But that money was in Dominica. Based on that, Edison James and his government decided they want to build an international airport, and they did what they had to do. They get planning and Stanley and Planning to do a design. They did not pay Stanley and Planning cash. They issued bonds to Stanley and Planning. When they realized, they went to the EU and asked the EU for a derogation, that is to allow them to use the money for a new facility. The EU did not give a derogation and said, no, you can only use that money on an existing facility. So they had no money. What they did in the guise of building an international airport is to go to Trinidad, to Royal Bank of Trinidad and to Royal Bank in Trinidad and negotiate and sold bonds, $140 million worth of bonds. But they sold the bonds at a discount.
So Clarence, let me try to understand it, because you're trying to bring some perspective. So where did they get the $80 million to buy the land that they bought there, and for what reason?
This is what I'm coming to, Matt. They sold bonds, and they got $126 million to repay $140 million at 13.39% interest. They got $126 million. They used up to $72 million went into salaries. $16 million went to pay the land they had invested. $16 million went to pay the land. 5 million went to pay Social Security. The one and only time the UWP paid Social Security in 4.5 years of government.
Let me ask the question now. I'm trying to get some points here. So Clarence, so they bought the land. So what happened to the land that they bought? Don't you think that the government now, instead of moving to another piece of land that we now are trying have a lot of issues over, could have used the very land? That would cost less to make the airport cost less as we speak.
But there have been lots of studies and discussion with the land of the other day. Leonie Church was on there. The land they have, the value lifting was saying you could only be landing on one side of the runway, because if you could be just like Melvin Hall. You had one Odiab and one Destiny. I'm not a technician, I'm not going into that. That is not for me. I'm telling you about the financing. So they had no money. The $33 million that was remaining from the 100 and so the 30 million that the EU gave, it was still available. This government used that money to redo Melvin Hall, to improve on Melvin Hall as per the EU stipulation. So UWP had this government, so we had a $140 million loan.
But you're not really answering the question, Clarence. Don't you think it would have cost less? Maybe they have a 1-2 issues there. Don't you think the issues we're having now with Wesley and Woodfordale would not have been there if they used the land, despite a few issues there, and build the airport on that piece of land, though? I'm just asking.
Let me tell you something. The government got one of the toughest firms in the world doing airports or doing airports, Landrum and Brown. We have a very bright Dominican working with Landrum and Brown. That is the son of Isaac Baptist. They were the ones who kept the site, who aligned the runway, get the site, Landrum and Brown, the current site, where you can land with precision landing. You can land on both sides in bad weather, in good weather, in windy weather. Any plane can land there. If you go there, you see it. From one end is the sea, the next end is the sea. You're coming over the sea, you're taking off over the sea. You're taking off over the sea, and so on. So it's straight from sea to sea. Lennox Honeychurch was there telling me the same thing about it is from sea to sea, no mountain in front of you.
Lennox Honeychurch also said that you could have used the barge to, of course, move the material that we're now asking for. So where's Lennox on that note?
Very good question. Very good, man. Very early, the company employed this guy from Wesley with heavy equipment to do a jetty so that they could bring in the material here. The conservationists are quite right. When they did their test down there, they found out there were some artifacts and some ancient artifacts and coral reef, and the badge would have damaged this thing down there. So that is why they don't use it. They are not using a badge. But they had already started, employed the company to do the jetty. They're not doing the badge because they will destroy the coral and the ancient artifacts that were found down there. That is the reason why they're not using it.
And another question to you, Clarence, and the lady said earlier then, and I will agree that you said that a couple. If there was not a stop, that you said, I don't think there's a stop, and if there was not a move by the court to lessen the impact on the road or the hours for the noise, you would have continued using, of course, that corridor. I don't think the other one. I'm trying to get the name right now. It's not coming to mind. So you had never moved to Dave Wash if Mr. Edison James, as you said, would have allowed this movement to take place.
But let me tell you.
Have you had a change of mind?
No, let me tell you, the first site they look was Dave Wash, because the stones there are more of a better quality, more of a better quality stones. But they went into Crapo Hall, which is where Edison James was initially going to, and they put a stop. Edison James wanted a complete stop order, but they curtailed the period from only 7 to 6 Monday to Friday. Right? Okay? So since they work up, they now go back to the place where they have the higher quality of stones, which is the worst. And that is the only thing that is happening. There is no copper mining, no gold mining, no silver mining, no rhodium mining. It's only for the rock.
So the Quapaw Hall, as you're saying, is not the alternative because you started using Quapaw Hall, but because of the stop order put by the judge or the temporary stop order, you are now going to Des Branches. So, I'm just saying, why the obsession with Des Branches? That's the question that many people are asking. Why and when you have already started using Quapaw Hall?
But there is no obsession anywhere. There is no obsession. The stones at Quapaw Hall is of a higher density. It has been used before. They had used stone, not in the same area, but in the general area had been used before. One engineer told me, who is a foreigner living in Dominica, told me they had used stones there before in the general area before, and this stone is higher quality. But I'm not. But what I'm saying, what is happening now there? Now, the construction company, has permission to set up the crusher, and they have permission by a letter dated May 6, 2026.
This is the first time I'm hearing of this. A letter when it was written?
May 6, 2026. A letter dated May 6, 2026.
May 6,
The company has permission to set up the crusher, but they have to wait until they get permission to begin operation.
So why wait? We April, May. So they have to wait for another 2 months to get to start work on Des Branches. That's your point. Because I've never heard that before. May 6, 2026.
I do not know how many months they have to say, but there are certain things that are ongoing, which has to be completed. And when it is completed, the planning people will come and look at it again and give permission or ask for certain things more or whatever it is. But things are in progress.
Let me ask you a quick question, Clarence. As you said, they were not able to build that port you're talking about. Were they not able to use Marigot, the fisheries there, the port there? Are you there?
I do not make, I can't complain on that. I do not make that was looked at. I do not.
Marigot is right there.
But I know a jetty. I'm Von Dodds had started a jetty. Who started working on a jetty in the Anzime area so that they could badge, and so everything would be badged into there. And we had started working on that, or you worked on that, but it was found that there were corals. The reports are there are corals and...
But again, Clarence, before you say interrupt you, the other side, if you want to call the other side that seemed to be for or against the quarrying going on at Des Branches, they're saying, okay, if you say like I asked Mr. Capitolo yesterday, that your scientists have given results that are much that give Des Branches the green light, if you will. Let's compare the notes, because the other side is saying no, that's not the right place to go. So why you guys cannot compare notes before they take that decision to go back to Des Branches? Why?
Let me tell you something. Those guys have tested stones almost all over the country. There is a state of, you see, this is one of people you do not know. You are journalists, you should go and do your work. There is a state of the art laboratory with several engineers, local engineers.
But I'm not saying you're not no engineer yourself, Clarence. So this is chalk and cheese. You are not engineer, so you don't know anything about what you're talking about. I'm just giving you the opportunity to say that, Clarence, bring the tests for the experts on the other side that have said, no, this is not the place to take the rocks. And let's compare notes. So whoever comes up on top, you'd have that decision to go. But you can't tell me I've not been an engineer and you're claiming to be an engineer. Let's get the facts. Let's compare notes and then we'll move forward. You're saying you have the better scientists. The other side is saying we have the better scientists. Let's compare notes and let the people decide.
Matt, I tell you, I'm not an engineer. What I tell you, what you're talking about, I'm not an engineer. I have told you I'm not an engineer. I've been studying engineering.
Well, bring the report. Let them see, Clarence. I'm not an expert like yourself. I'm not the expert. So how can you decide is the best rocks when I've not seen it and maybe you have access to it? So why don't you look at the other side? Why?
Matt, let me tell you something. You know, you see me? If the mountain has to come down to build the international airport, it should come.
You see the ignorance right now. You tell me about the experts. I tell you, bring the evidence. Let me read it myself, and then we'll see the other side and we'll compare notes. That's all I'm telling you. Now you're talking about if the mountain has to come down. No, we're not talking about that. Hello, talk to me on the telephone. You see, and then he accused me of not. Yes, talk to me.
I just want to ask Clarence a question. Clarence said they had no money in the time of PWP, but tell him, is he aware that Taiwan had pledged $50 million to the project, 25 million grant and 25 million loan? Ask Clarence that question for me, please. Okay?
I'm sure he's listening, and he of course would. But I would really like to talk to the engineers that were involved. You know, that airport that the UWP was proposing at the time. I'm sure there were engineers involved. Hello, talk to me. Yes, and they might be able to provide a little more information. Yes, talk to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listening to that man, oh my God, boy, some Dominicans are wicked and ignorant. I listened to a song that you play on your radio station. Party to your point, Dominic Hodno. You shall point Dominic Hodno. To Chinois, you need Dominic as a so-called prime minister. You shall point Dominic Hodno. And this guy comes and he's defending something that he cannot defend. But he thinks he's God. He thinks he's so brilliant. I don't know why these people in Dominica, that men like Christian, are so wicked. God have mercy on this guy's soul. They are wicked son of a gun.
All right, so let's not get personal like this. Thank you very much. They are protecting the coral. On what about protecting the health and livelihood of human beings? Somebody's asking at this time. 449-3095. You know, I like always to entertain these people. Hello, talk to me. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Clarence Christian said that they did not use the badge to bring the stones from Collie or whatever because it would have done.
You're gonna mess up the corals there. Yes.
Yes. So is the mountain less important than the river that the people are using as their livelihood? Is that less important than the corals? And this crowd should answer that. Because the corals are under the sea, but the mountain that they're destroying and the rivers are people's livelihood. So I would like to ask Clarence if the coral are more important than the mountains and the river. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much. On the telephone is 209. There's an interesting discussion there. Clarence says he doesn't, it doesn't really matter if a mountain has to come down to build his airport. Hello. Yes, hello, talk to me.
Well, Matt.
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon, Matt. Yesterday we had Capitol, today we have Clarence. I don't know, Monday we're going to have somebody else. But I rather our mountains and our rivers stay exactly out there and have no airport. Because there was a man who had made a study during Eugenia Charles, and he said Dominica was cursed and blessed not to have an international airport. Cursed because everybody else have one and they can get the flights direct into them, but we can get our own planes from wherever to bring in our people from Barbados, wherever. And blessed because every island north of us and south of us, with the exception of St. Vincent at them, had an international airport. So we could use them as hubs. So I'm not going to say I'm an expert in nothing. I'm not going to talk on nothing else than what I know. But we're getting experts coming from the ministry defending that the Bay-Wash area.
We seem to have lost you there for a minute. Hello. The government is making it too difficult for public interest people to get information. Then he's saying we have to do our own work. The Prime Minister is saying that the other side has made no suggestions. So many times I've heard the other side making suggestions. Bring the geologists on your side and bring the other side and let's compare notes. That's all I've been saying since yesterday. First thing is that they have said that the committee should be consulted. And that's by law. Which community that has been consulted? Also, their own reports seem to recommend further testing, and there should be ongoing testing of the water to understand the true impact on people and their health. What is really going on? Hello, talk to me on the telephone. Yes, talk to me. Yes.
Yes, Matt. Matt, you are the only person that could have that patience to talk to those people like Clarence. And Matt, who is he to tell you how to do your work? You are a reporter, go and do your work. You are doing your work. So what? Thank you.
Thank you. 4493095. You know, I was a little amazed by Clarence when he says, you probably take down the mountain to get the airport. I'll do it. 4493095, 96 and 97. Hello, yes. Are you there, caller?
Hey.
Yes.
Based on the various comments I've been hearing for the afternoon, it has to do with a question I asked yesterday of Mr. Capitole, but my credit was sort of limited, so I didn't really complete my question. But the question was there ever an airport, an international airport in the making prior to this one, say under the previous government, before this government came into power? So based on what I've heard so far and based on what you've asked Clarence, I can conclude, yes, there was an airport in the making, but then he said there was no money for the airport. But what I want to say is, if that is the case, because I'm not too sure, because politics has a lot in it, so I really want to know, I need somebody from the opposition, maybe the past, to really confirm if there was really an airport in the making to be built. But based on what Clarence said, the land, based on what I understood then, I'm not sure if I understood clearly because I'm slower. So the thing is, based on what I understood from what he said, is that the land was purchased, but there was no money to build the airport. Now, my point is the opposition, the present opposition, need to ride on the fact that before this present government intended to build an airport, there was the building of an airport in the making before that. Because the thing is, when people that defend the government come to speak, they usually say like, the opposition is against the building of an airport, as it is the first time in Dominica's history that an international airport was to be built. So I need the opposition because that is for the benefit of people that born in 2000 and so, you know, up to 2026. So they can know it is not the first time an airport or an international airport had to be built. Land was already purchased for that purpose. But because of the politics in Dominica, like the lady said earlier on, I want to build on my own foundation. I don't want to build on another person's foundation, which means like Labour didn't want to build on what United Workers' Party started. And that is a problem I have in Dominica, and that is a problem we have in Dominica because governments always break down what a first government starts. You understand? And that keeps costing us more and more money, and the value of money is dropping, and the cost of labor and material and everything else is rising. So those kind of things they need to stop. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, let me see if I can get Mr. Edison James to confirm that, you know, the UWP at the time, now the opposition, had money, of course, to build that airport or expecting lots of money to build that airport. Hello, talk to me. Yes. Hi.
Yes, Matt. Yes, while you're on Mr. James, let Mr. James tell us about what level of approval of plans that the UWP had, because that's a problem. We don't seem to have approved plans from this government. They don't seem to be following the law. So let's see if Mr. James can show us that UWP was following the law by getting approved plans, proper approval for everything. Now, Matt, why is it that we're not hearing from the head of this administration? Why do we have to hear from part of the administration that's not even part of it? Like, I would describe it as the boom boom.
You just heard the Prime Minister. He spoke to the airport earlier on. He did.
But Matt, why are we hearing from the boom boom today?
Well, I just told you we heard from the Prime Minister and his views on the airport a few minutes ago. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yes? At the news conference. Are you there?
Yeah, Matt, the caller called and asked a question that I should answer about monies. I cannot remember, but what? Have I shared it?
No, because I think the caller was saying that you're saying, Clarence, is that you? You were saying that the opposition, or at the time, now the opposition, who were in government at the time, did not have the money, and we have gotten information that Taiwan has pledged over $50 million.
Okay,
Is that true?
okay. Very good, very good. That is, Matt, there was no financing agreement. Absolutely no, for any, when the EU or Taiwan thing. So, first thing they do is a financing agreement. I work in the public service. I was director about it. I knew everything that happened in the government because you see everything. There was absolutely nobody can tell you there was a financing agreement between the Taiwanese government and the government of Dominica. There was absolutely no financing agreement. And that is why they went to borrow $140 million from the bank. And that, you know what is hurting most? Those guys took $36 million from the pension fund and the Social Security and put it in a sinking fund in Trinidad to get the bonds money. $36 million of the people's pension fund.
All right, but Mr. Clarence, let me get the other side. You have presented. Let me get the other side. Thank you again for sharing. Let's see what the other side has to say. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, 217.
Yeah, and another thing is, the Indian land was available. If they had continued with that land, also, Desbois, like I've said before, Desbois should not be a conversation. Because I would like to believe that all the tests were done, the ESIA, the EIA, and whatever else it is, all the surveys and everything was done already. So we wouldn't be in that situation where we're spending money to do this, to destroy this, and man saying about they rather save the coral, whatever it is, than the mountain. I mean, everything has to be saved. We need the coral, we need people that dive in and think to see the beauty of under the sea. But first thing they see is the mountain too. And when we destroy the mountain and everything else like that, it's problem. So let us choose what we really want to save. And let us try to be reasonable and not be biased because of politics. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. But a lot of phone calls are coming at this time. 218. I'm trying to get Mr. Isaac Baptist, and we will try to see. He was an integral part of that airport at the time it was scheduled to be built. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yes?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Okay, this may sound funny, right? But I listen to Mr. Johnson, I listen to Capitol, and I listen to Clarence Christian. Notice I said Mr. Johnson. It is like they're all going to the same destination, but on different roads. But I prefer to travel with Mr. Johnson towards that same destination, which is the international airport, because the road Mr. Clarence Christian and Capitol riding on, there are too many potholes in it.
Too many potholes. Okay, thank you. All right, I got one of the men trained architects, a land developer, who's on the telephone at this time, Mr. Isaac Baptist. Mr. Baptist, I've just heard from Clarence Christian, you guys had no plans to build any international airport. What is your response?
But what I at this point in time, I can be quite frank, Master Peltier, I do not even want to participate in discussion regarding international airport for Dominica, because the issues have been dealt with as far as the United Workers' Party and other governments. Other governments. I have in front of me, I'm in my office, as they called me. They have 3 major reports, folders, massive folders: master plan study, preliminary engineering study, International Airport Commonwealth of Dominica, right? And yet another one here with appendices. And I mean, basic, what that's about 20 or 18 inches, this report, in terms of height of history report. Every government previous to the Dominica Labour Party undertook studies. Dominica is one of the most islands most heavily studied for the construction of an international airport because of the terrain of the country. And we know that Dominica needs a new airport because you have an airport where you have mountains. At one end, you have mountains approaching the airport. So it's not a 24/7 operational airport. So every government has attempted to. We heard the Freedom Party, where after the invasion of the U.S. invaded Grenada, where the government of America promised to build an airport for Dominica. The United Workers' Party was accused of not allowing it to take place, etc. These are all politics and so on. When the United Workers' Party came into office, within 4.5 years they stayed in office. By 1989, because they went out of office in 1990, by 1989, all plans were prepared for the airport. I was involved. I was the land use planning consultant on that project. You had presentation made at Londonderry Secondary School, right? I was one of the presenters there. The consulting firm was of Trinidadian consulting firm, Stanley Planning and Stanley. They had a gentleman from the University of the West Indies spent almost a year in Dominica studying the issues of geotechnical studies, etc., etc. The Taiwanese government, yes, it is a fact. I heard Clarence saying, "Oh, there was no agreement or whatever." What is it? You're part of the cabinet, Mr. Clarence Christian. I smell last those stay in your bloody lane when certain issues are being discussed. Because you're director of audit, and most of the reports that you're supposed to have presented, you never did it. Right? There was commitment by the government of Taiwan to give $25 million for the airport as grant, and they also committed to provide loans, right? The contractual arrangement the government was considering then was that the contractor who would get the bid to undertake the project must commit to put in $10 million into it to show that, yes, they are prepared to work with the project and work with the government. So the financing plan, only have one of the best wizards in Dominica as far as financing is Julius Timothy. All these things were done to commence construction of an airport. The land was purchased. The people that they have relocated from Wesley proper to the upper section of Wesley, these were lands all prepared for the airport, identified for the airport. This is where the runway was going to take place. The airport was that of United Workers, the Freedom Party, the site looked at it by the Freedom Party was also looked at. The only reason why it was not selected as the preferred site was because you're getting, I think it was 6,500 to 7,000 feet runway. At the time, the aircraft coming across the Atlantic needed between 9,000 to 10,000 feet to land. This is why they did not use that site, because in terms of the alignment, etc., it was perfect for that purpose. But you could not get the length of the runway you wanted to get there. So eventually, these guys, the engineers and the experts, ended up with a site that was identified. My argument is this. Dominican is a new airport. But you have to do the studies properly. Nobody with a sense or common sense will deny that Dominican is a new airport. We all know that. But you have the proper ways to do what you are doing. There should be no reason you have that controversy and all these problems surrounding construction of an international airport in Dominica. When you came in, you made these studies. You have government, you have the right to decide, I'm not going to use that site. You have identified a new site you're using. Papa Bontier, just take your time and do the studies properly. You had Mr. Johnson, airport manager, whatever it is, project manager, on your radio some time ago. I was trying to engage him. I don't know what happened. If the engagement stopped after I asked the question. He's saying that, and he's correct. There has been work, some work has been done in terms of getting improved air access for Dominica using Merzelhorst. So if you have that, you have 2 international flights, and most times, unless you have a situation where it's a major activity in Dominica, they're coming in half full of recorder food in or out. So therefore, at this point in time, you do not have a stress to say, well, boy, if I don't build an airport within this year or completely within a year, I will have a problem. You don't have that problem. So take your time. You have already done what you did at Westwood. You have already faced all the problems. You said it was $1 billion project. You did not send it to tender. Had you sent the project to tender, right, all of these issues that we are now facing would be addressed, because you would have to tell the contractor in your report where you're going to take aggregate from, where you're going to get this and that from. All these costs would have been put into the project. But instead, you gave it to somebody, design and build. They're not even a design firm. You gave it to them. They didn't in turn engage a Chinese firm, I guess, to do the design and construction at the same time. And all they do is managing the money. That is all they are doing, MMCE. And as they're going along, you are doing things. The things that they are doing right now, they should have been done long ago. For example, man, here it is that they're saying, well, boy, if they want is the best site. But they would not tell you, the question is not the best aggregate, Is it suitable for the airport? And they all agree there are 3 sites where you have suitable material for the runway, to surface the runway, and whatever else you need aggregate for. You have at Corridor, Deadwash, and Crapo Hall. So it's not a question of best, it's suitability. So which one has the least impact on the environment, cost issues, etc., and then you take a decision from that point of view. You are saying, boy, as one of the excuses I heard Mr. Johnson say, people were complaining about driving through Canefield, etc., to transport cement. Had the government taken their time and do a proper study, you know what I would have realized? Hey, I could probably get the construction of the Layu to the entrance of going up to Warner Road. That section of road, that was the main major road, completed, and the Chinese have probably done it for them. Because you'd have said that, hey, I need to haul the material from Corridor, it's suitable material. Can you provide us financial assistance to build that section of road? And you're avoiding Canefield altogether. You have not done the proper studies. You have not done the work. And these guys are just there complaining and want to make it a political thing. It is not a political thing. It is a case where you have not done the proper studies. You have failed to observe the laws of the country in terms of tendering for such major projects. You have failed to recognize the Planning Act that provides for the protection of public health, public safety, and public welfare, and you want to turn it into a political game. And this is where what we have to do. And my view right now is just, Gaston build all the damn airport, I want to finish it. I build the airport. That is all I could say. Bye, man.
Thank you. So, Clarence, you heard, huh? Don't forget that there's a group of citizens that will gather in Devanche for an activity tomorrow, sharing information from 10 o'clock in the morning. So if you want to join, there's a bus that will be available from 8:30 tomorrow, right outside of Q, okay? If you want to find this out to support the activities taking place at Devanche by patriots join that bus from 8:30 tomorrow morning right there at Q, okay? Let's go back to the telephone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you? Yes?
Yes, good afternoon, Mark.
Good afternoon to you. How you doing? How you doing? Yes.
Okay, that's all right. I seem to be on your radio too often these days, Mark. But anyway,
Is that a good thing? That's a good thing. Yes.
good enough. Hopefully, I'll disappear again. But yeah, I mean, the points raised just by a caller earlier on, Mark, are very pertinent points. I mean, there's just so much evidence, Mark, basically to show clearly that what's going on that entire project is just total madness. But I don't want to go tit for tat on anything, Mr. Clarence Christian. I wouldn't even waste my valuable time with Mr. Christian anymore. What I would say to people is I would just like to invite Dominicans to Wash tomorrow. Those who choose to come, that's really up to them. But there will be so much information revealed of the mat that for me it's mind-boggling. I just received not too long ago an engineering report on the Dewash situation as it relates to what they call the overload, which is a material that will have to be moved out of their mat and placed somewhere. And the numbers are just, I had to call the person back and say, this can't be right, because it just makes no sense. And obviously the person is very qualified, so he's right. But I'm just saying, all this information will be spoken about, revealed at the Wash tomorrow. And even the SIAs, where they now had the opportunity to present something that looked like an ESIA mat. I mean, I wouldn't call them ESIAs. They're just so deficient. It's just mind-boggling. So I want to encourage Dominicans who want to choose to come out tomorrow.
But let me just ask you a question before you go, Jerry. I just heard some interesting information. I'm hearing for the first time that the government has gotten permission from planning, and they are expected to start on May 6, 2026. Are you aware of this?
No.
I just heard that from Mr. Clarence Christian. On May 6, they've gotten the letter, the communique is saying that on May 6 they should commence the operations there at Dewash. Clarence Christian said that, not me.
I will say this to you, that if that is in fact the case, I just say in fact the case, then all persons who have made that decision should be either fired or taken from the job. Because, again, Mark, here is it, we're going through a process of reading the SIs, going through documents, everything, to make submissions, which we have not yet because we have up until Monday to do that, at which time the submissions then have to be viewed, gone through, and everything, and the relevant authorities planning and so on, gone back to either the site to look at or have discussions with the people with the whatever it might be, it's a process. So if Mr. Clarence Christian is saying that the permission has already been given and the process has not even unfolded in a proper manner, well, whoever has given that permission, Matt, deserves to be gotten rid of or fired in the job or whatever it is. And Dominicans will also have to make the decision what it is they do to ensure that these people do not create a disaster, as I've said, Matt.
Maybe, as I said, maybe he spoke too quickly, but in his pronouncement, May 6 is the date that they've been given permission to commence, huh?
I don't know if I will take Mr. Christian's information too seriously. I really don't.
Because you may be right, because the last time I spoke to him, he said there was no stop order, and there was a stop order from December 1. See?
And then before that, he said that Edison James had stopped the quarrying and crushing at Crawford, which was in the case. So I don't know if I would even take that to
And again, but do some checking, because that's what he said. So you should do some checking there before you move on.
We're doing what we can do. And as I said to people, there's significant submissions being made. And I mean, Matt, putting it and solid information, not just these are engineers, geologists, everything else who are submitting information based on the ESIAs that have been presented. And as I said, Matt, people need to come to see, as they say, the Coco Macaque.
But have you your side gotten an opportunity to see the test that they have conducted, Jerry? Have you been invited to see for yourself?
No, that's the other point, man. No tests, absolutely no tests have been presented publicly to anyone whatsoever so that they can see what they're seeing from the other side. We have had no information, no tests, except in these ESIAs, which again are so lacking, even in the test results or information. And one thing I can just quickly say, Matt, when you do ESIAs, they should be by independent, not Mr. Josiah Benoit, who apparently has done those, who is the environmental scientist representing MMC, which is the company that is doing the developers, that is doing the airport. Again, that's how it's done. You don't hear about that. If an ESIA is done, it is by independent experts. It's supposed to be by independent experts. And in these, what you call ESIAs, Matt, there should be references, clear references as to where and who did the studies and everything else. And there is none in these ESIAs, you know. So it is clearly a scam, or sham, or whatever you want to call it, Matt. And, people just need, as I say, to come to the WASH, if they so choose, to listen to the information that will be presented there, based on the submissions that are already being made. I mean, there's still more time to make more, but I mean, we won't even be able to present the amount of submissions or the deficiencies in these ESIAs and other things up at the WASH. But in 3 hours' time, we won't even be able to do it. So, Matt, I just want to invite people to come out. It's going to be a nice little event. And come and listen and get information and factual information, man. Not just pie in the sky and running your mouth and saying this and that, It's all documented evidence and information by qualified engineers, scientists, whatever else it is, man. Okay?
All right, Mr. Brisbane. Thank you. Looking forward, of course, to the information that will surface tomorrow. And again, a bus will be available tomorrow from 8:30 right in front queue, to join you guys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dominica. Yes, let's take a break and we'll come right back. This is Q95. This is the Talk on the Block. We're coming back.
Softball Cricket Association, in collaboration with the Elias Dupe Foundation, proudly presents the Elias Dupe Tape Ball Cricket Festival, all in honor of the late Elias Dupe. Join us Easter Sunday and Easter Monday at the Ansdume Playing Field in the northeast of the island for 2 days of softball cricket action. Games begin 11 a.m. on Easter Sunday and 9 a.m. on Easter Monday, featuring top teams from the north and northeast of Dominica, including Benz, Faybush, Penville, Calabishi, Marigot, Wesley, Woodford Hill, and Portsmouth, all competing for over $3,000 in prizes. Make this Easter one to remember with thrilling cricket, community spirit, and great entertainment. April 5th and 6th at the Ansdume Playing Field. Catch the action live on radio, Facebook, YouTube, and the television. Come out and support the Elias Dupe Tape Ball Cricket Festival, where the Northeast will come alive with cricket. Lovely cricket.
I'm checking that home. 64 feet on the shore. And you in there offices. But with high time for picking your membership. You want quality products, we have that. You want quality services, we have that too. Our services will help make your dreams come true. That's a fact. Hurry up to NCCU, your community financial partner. Yes, support you through all disaster. At NCCU, trust us, we care. The kind of loyalty you cannot find anywhere. National Cooperative Credit Union, education, training, and information. Self help, responsibility, democracy, equality, solidarity. NCCU, we have so hard for our members. So become a member today in one of our local offices to help us make your dreams come true. 255-2126. NCCU, your community financial partner.
Why would it come and come to you? A fresh fresh market, we are open 7 days a week with the top of the line products. Well, stop. Supermarket and pharmacy, health and beauty care, fresh produce and meat prepared daily, hot and cold kitchen, ready to go meals, sandwiches, salads, and dessert at your fingertips. Easy access, located on the bayfront, environment friendly, and our staff are approachable and ready to assist. Have you figured out who we are? You got it. Fresh Market, one stop. Everybody don't count and your pocket don't touch you. Fresh Market, never did a white day. Fresh Market.
Oh, KFC. Ooh, oh, KFC. Looking for some place to go. Meals for soul. KFC. Grab your family and your friends. Join in the experience. KFC. It's the place to be. Made for you and me. KFC. KFC. It's finger licking good.
I see Golo in shopping for farming supplies, so I ask him, what are you doing inside Bloombox? You have a farm? He tell me, Gus, out have sort. I've been married 37 years, look at my money farm. He say, no, not woman, like land for farming crops. And then you understand, Bloombox is the most affordable on island. Knapsacks starting at only $57.71. Elsewhere, it's $300 plus. Cutlass seeds, seeding trays, nursery pots, sales of potting mix, all at way better prices than anywhere else. Fertilizers, 3-in-1 multi-tool, and so much more. Located on Federation Drive, Goodwill. Second property on the right after the Valley Link Road and on the corner of Drury Lane and Hanover Street in Rosal. Bloombox. Let's bloom together.
In season two, for the second year running, the second edition of Nature Island Small Business Buzz get bigger this season. It's a brand new season where we expect to go across the length and breadth of Dominica, taking it outside of the capital city, Rosal. Shoemaker, your farmer, your fisherman, whether you have big business, a small business, a medium business, your abilities, your gifts, your talent. How do you survive if you fail? How do you accumulate a multiple group of businesses? Coming this Tuesday to Reach Junction on the 7th of April, we have a double header. Twins, because it's our second year. So we have two for the price of one. Don't miss it. Empowering the economic engine of growth in Dominica. This program enlightens, empowers from the root to the fruit right here on the big station. Don't you miss Nature Island Small Business Bus every Tuesday from 4 to 5, every Thursday from 4 to 5. This is season 2. Season 2. Don't miss it. Season 2. Big Bang happens right here Tuesday, 2nd April. A global audience awaits.
We are open 7 days a week with the top of the line products. Well stocked supermarket and pharmacy, health and beauty care, fresh produce and meats prepared daily, hot and cold kitchen, ready to go meals, sandwiches, salads, and dessert at your fingertips. Easy access, located on the bayfront, environment friendly, and our staff are approachable and ready to assist. Have you figured out who we are? You got it. Fresh Market, your one stop. Everybody don't count and your pocket don't touch you. Fresh Market, never did a white day.
Cricket Association, in collaboration with the Elias Dupy Foundation, proudly presents the Elias Dupy Tape Ball Cricket Festival, all in honor of the late Elias Dupy. Join us Easter Sunday and Easter Monday at the Ansdume Playing Field in the northeast of the island for 2 days of softball cricket action. Games begin 11 a.m. on Easter Sunday and 9 a.m. on Easter Monday, featuring top teams from the north and northeast of Dominica, including Benz, Peebush, Penville, Calabishi, Marigot, Wesley, Woodfordale, and Portsmouth, all competing for over $3,000 in prizes. Make this Easter one to remember with thrilling cricket, community spirit, and great entertainment. April 5th and 6th at the Ansdume Playing Field. Catch the action live on radio, Facebook, YouTube, and the television. Come out and support the Elias Dupy Tape Ball Cricket Festival, where the Northeast will come alive with cricket. Lovely cricket.
It's already 2:42. It's a Friday afternoon. I thought it was cooling down time on this Friday. But this is talk on the block. And if it's on the block, people continue to talk to the issues of concern. On the telephone, hello, talk to me. Yes. Hello.
Matt, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Well, I'm
I
not-
tried 50 times before I get you.
I know.
You made an error there, you know, with what Clarence said you, because I was right by the radio and
What is
I
that?
heard him quite clearly. Clarence didn't say they get permission to start on the 6th of May, you know.
Mhm.
He 2020, he told you they get permission by letter dated 6th of May 2026. Now, today is the 26th.
Yeah, so it's forward, so the equipment is already on the land.
No, but what is he? He's saying that by letter dated 6th May
Mhm.
2026, they got permission. What he's telling you is they get a letter and the letter is dated 6th of May 2026. And that is the letter that's giving them permission to go ahead. But 6th of May 2026 don't come yet, Matt.
He don't come yet.
27th of March. So how could somebody give you a letter dated after? Because if he said they got a letter for months to work on the 6th of March 2020, that is fine. But the month, when he said by letter dated 6th of May 2026, you repeated it to him, you know. You told him 6th of May 2026, and I said, but Matt not checking May 6th door yet. So how could somebody get a letter 6th of May?
But I was concentrating on the fact that everybody was looking for a letter like this, and no planning, no environmentalists, no patriot have been told. Not even the government or the prime minister said. So why is Clarence so involved? And he knew what date
Why? But the thing is that he's giving you a date of a letter that don't reach yet in the calendar for 2026, so that is an invisible letter. If the letter already dated 6th of May 2026, that is an invisible letter, man.
No, but you could have a letter printed May 6th, you know. Hello, talk to me on the telephone. On the telephone, yes. On the telephone. Clarence have a lot of information there. But hello, talk to me, yes?
Matt,
Yeah.
that lady seems to be hearing what she wants, so she's being mischievous. I never said 6th of May. I said 6th of March 2026.
Clarence, you
But
said
I just look at the letter.
you said May. You said May. Just apologize and say you meant March 6th. But you said May. You want me to go back for the record?
Well, if I said May, I'm sorry, but it's 6th of March 2026.
They got permission.
They got permission, and it reads, you could, sorry, I use on my phone there. I would have to go back to the phone, right? 6th of March 2026.
All right. Well, if you said that, Clarence. So he changed his mind. So it's now he admitted that he made a mistake. It's 6th of March, not May. My brother, thanks for the clarification, huh? I will apologize on your behalf. Okay, Clarence? He meant the 6th of March. But I don't know if anybody else came up with that information, though. Hello, talk to me. I've been waiting. I've been looking. I've been trying to find out. Clarence, you're the boss, boy. You know more than the PM and everybody else. Hello, talk to me, yes? Are you there, caller?
That is why I maintain, sir, you say don't get personal. That's why I maintain the guy is wicked. He's a wicked man. He does not care about his country. He cares about his pocket and his friend's pocket and the Chinese. The Chinese don't love Dominica. What makes anybody in Dominica think China loves Dominica? They're there for what they can take out of Dominica and to be close to America.
so they can use that airport for what they want to do to America. Don't let the Chinese fool you.
All right, caller, thank you very much. Clarence, you're the real boss. Hello, talk to me, 250. Oh boy, yes, I'm here.
Fait accompli, Matt. That's the word that's the phrase that came to mind. Fait accompli. Nobody else has that information except Clarence, the mouthpiece of the DLP. What official source has it come from? But Matt, this airport thing, it's a bit of a headache sometimes. Because Clarence is claiming that UWP had no money. Then he says, yes, they did go and take a loan. Okay. What is Roosevelt Skerritt doing? Roosevelt Skerritt has all the money for the airport, or is he also going to take a loan? What's the point? Is he getting financing? And are the Chinese going to finally donate the airport to him, to the island? These are the things we have to ask because we know that this government doesn't have all cash. He always gave us the impression that he would pay cash. But when they brought him before Parliament, he said they had $2.50 left in the account, or was some kind of a ridiculous amount. So obviously, he also has to find financing. So I don't understand the point of Clarence at all, where government, UWP didn't have any money and they had to go and take a loan. Skerritt has been taking loans. You remember, Matt, Skerritt came from China with how many millions? And he said that he got it from the Chinese government. And the next day, the ambassador corrected him. Do you remember that, Matt?
I remember. Yes, I remember.
Yeah, the ambassador came on the radio and corrected Roosevelt Skerritt and said he did not get it from China. He got it from a finance company in China. They corrected him. So he was lying to us. And the Chinese ambassador had to correct him. You see where that's going? No, so I do not get Clarence's point at all. No.
But some people are accusing me of just taking Clarence's call. I don't, again, Dominic, you've been listening to this radio for many years. I don't see calls. I see lights. So I don't know who's calling, okay? Thank you very much. 449-9697. I don't see calls. I just see lights. So I don't know how these people sometimes get through and others don't, huh? Sorry.
Matt, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to
Yes,
you.
hear such buffoonery, Matt. Matt, I don't know how these people consider themselves to be patriotic and even professionals, they call themselves professionals. Matt, I have never seen people like that Clarence Christian. That man said that the port, that he went all around the bushes and he spoke about a port that Von Dodds was building. Like, really, Clarence? There is already a port built by the Japanese in Marigot. That is an up and functional port that has been there for many years. It's not that you don't know the port is there, but you're talking about a port that an individual is going to build. Was building. And then he spoke about Isaac's son, where he stated that it would have destroyed the corals and what have you. But the mountain in the Bois is home for so many wildlife, including the parrots. It's also home for the watersheds that feed the Pegua River, the essential river that flows in the community where people are affected. People will not be able to get clean water for their very survival. The fish in the river feeds the community. So what are you talking about? You mean to tell me you have more interest in some corals, and it's not coral, it's corals, corals. You have more interest in corals than the livelihood of the people that you can see every day. Clarence Christian, you are a wicked, wicked individual. And you don't have to embarrass yourself like that because you want to sing a song for the cabal. And if you don't do that, you will not feel relevant. You will not get your place. You will not get your little piece of cheese that have tissue on it. Stop that, Clarence. Matt, when I listened to that thing that you played yesterday from Skerritt, and when he spoke about so many things, including the Debwash issue, Matt, among other things, Matt, that man is a walking, talking, contradictory ball of useless energy, you know, Matt. Matt, he said tourists are coming to Dominica because of Dominica's natural beauty, the tranquility, and the environment, you know, that provides that tranquility. Yes, those are what sells Dominica, sell Dominica. It's our natural environment that sells Dominica. So when you take our rainforest, our mountains, you destroy it. You destroy the very tourist product that you're talking about. How are you enhancing the environment, sir? How are you doing that?
Let's continue this conversation there. Let's yes, Martin, just stick around. I suspect we have a lot more information to come, but let's see if we can continue with playing this voice note. Stick around.
Sir, how are you doing that? And Matt, you know, listen to that man well, you know, Matt. He said that there is no gold and silver, you know, in Dominica, in Debuash, Matt. No one said that there was gold and silver, though he wished there was really gold and silver. No one said that there was gold and silver. We said that there was copper. Realize, and we should realize that you didn't say that there's no copper, because you know well you cannot say that. And when you go down, when you plan to go down 1,000 to 1,800 feet into the earth, into the ground, into the soil, into the mountain, looking for what you did not put, that you don't even know if it is there, and you said is what? It's not mining? What you think it is? Are you think that we are stupid? Do you think that we are stupid? Are you thinking we are stupid? Matt, I just don't understand this man. When he knows that he's destroying the green space, he's destroying our tourism product. But he's talking about an airport that can sustain, you know, a hurricane and what have you. We have seen airports, large airports, international airports around the world that could not stand up to hurricanes. So why you think that the airport in Dominica is going to stand up to a Category 5 hurricane and it will not destroy the infrastructure? So it means when you go to Debuash and you get the special rocks made out of copper that you're looking for, nothing is going to destroy the airport in the event there is a hurricane. Is that what you are saying? Skerrit, you seem not to understand your history or the history of Dominica, or it's either power has gotten through your head. But I will remind you that we Dominicans have paid the price through the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors. You have to understand that this land is not yours, that was gifted to you by the parents you never had. But it is us, all of us, indigenous Dominicans own. And we will not allow our land to be recolonized by Chinese or any other race in the name of development, or any treasonous leader in the name of development. Now will we pay with our freedom, liberties, and our blood to keep the inheritance, that gift, and all its natural resources, which is ours, our prized possession that bears the signature of our ancestors signed by their blood. We will not let you destroy it. Bear that in mind. We will not let you destroy it. Thank you, Matt.
Passionate Dominican concerned about Debuash and the rivers where she grew up, or the river where she grew up, huh? I've also been told by some tubers, those in the tourism business there in the Debuash area, involved in tubing, they're now suffering some health conditions with their skin, huh? So if you don't believe me, you can ask them. Since this mountain has been destroyed in Debuash, there's some adverse effects on their skin, huh? And of course, maybe some of the tourists are taking the tubes. Dominica, we have to be careful. But my telephones continue to ring here. I have to leave it in a while though. Hello, talk to me. Yes? Yes?
Matt,
Yes.
Let me just tell Karen something there. And I'm going to be afraid, I'm a very respectful person.
Yes.
Clarence wanted to give the impression when he called that I was saying something that was erroneous. Clarence, let me tell you something. You see that voice there? When you hear that voice, truth, she believes in. And when you hear me speak, I am repeating what I said because I heard you quite clearly. I was right by the radio. I'm a very attentive listener, and I process things as it is being said. So I heard you quite clearly what you said. So to come on the radio a while ago and wanted to just dismiss what I said as if it's some kind of propaganda, Clarence, I'm not in no propaganda business. Because unlike you, my allegiance is to the Lord God Almighty.
But you suspect he changed his mind, huh? You suspect?
Yes, after you tell me that. I have no allegiance to no political party or politician. I will never call radio and make no monkey with myself, spread no propaganda or lies to make one politician look good and one politician look bad. I'm not in this nonsense. Bye-bye, Matt.
Bye-bye to you too. It's 302. Yes, talk to me on the telephone. There's so many calls. Yes.
I listening heard the same thing this lady heard. But Matthew forget he went for a quarry some time back.
And he also apologized to that too. He also apologized. So he also apologized. Huh? Thank you. On the telephone, yes, he did say he apologized. He misspoke. Are you there? Yes. I'm taking notes. Hello, talk to me. Yes. Hello.
Yes, Matt.
Yes.
Big Karen, she's always slip off the tongue, So, just what is the statement he made? It's always a slip of his tongue.
Well, he said they were getting a quarry all the way from. I said that again. He apologized. And now this afternoon he had to apologize again because he did say May 6th. Now he changed it to March 6th. So, but he's saying something I never knew, and that's very revealing. Hello, talk to me on the telephone. Are you there? Yes. Hello.
Good afternoon, Marto.
Good afternoon to you.
I listen to some of what Clarence was saying. Kudos to the United Workers' Party.
Mm-hmm.
And one must remember when they purchased that land, everything was done from the Freedom Party. And that was done. The UWP at the same time was built roads, schools, water, proper water system. The UWP was doing something wrong in the country, and not one person in Wesley did not complain they did not get their money for their land. They could not have bought the land without doing the test. The test was already done. Not the plan for the airport was already drawn to build the international airport. So thanks to Mr. Clarence, passport. We did not sell 51,000 passport, Clarence. No, UWP did not do that. It was just petty cash, and they was determined to build it. Nobody I know in UWP did not have house over $1 million. They could not talk about $80 and $90 million. So thanks, Clarence. You just make the UWP wild up. But Mato, I hear something about you. The structure will stand to category 5 10. Mato, I have to wait to see the hurricane. Because you remember the manager tell you on your show, if you go Wesley, you're going to see the floor. And you're going to see boats standing up, waiting for what they're waiting for. The truth about it, they're going to put steel beam, steel column. And that area going to have a cold joint. He did not tell you they're using concrete column. They're using steel column which they're going to bolt to the floor. So that cannot be stronger than solid concrete. So I know they're using shortcut in that project they're doing there. So that $2 billion is a waste to Dominicans. Melvin, no terminal is stronger than it. God bless Dominica. Thank you.
God bless you too. Let's see if we can take a voice note there from Mr. Leonard Matthew, a geologist himself. Mr. Leonard Matthew.
Mapelti, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Yes.
Good afternoon to your listeners. One of your callers on the subject of the international airport is making a very important point. We got our independence in 78, and we expect that whatever government comes into office sets a vision for Dominica. And if within 5 years, 10 years, they've lost the election, the government that comes into play should continue on some of these projects, because most of these things have been budgeted for. Most of these things have gone through Parliament. And in the case of the international airport, if the previous government, who's working on behalf of people, created plans, purchased lands, did all what was supposed to do, and I've always argued the fact that projects like this need to go through Parliament, the funding mechanism has to be put in law. And what that would do, it would prevent the new government coming into office from stopping the project, because if the funding has already been allocated, or the funding has been decided, then the next government simply has to continue that project on behalf of the people, because back then we all agreed, and even today, that Dominica needed an international airport. So it's not a party project, it's a national project. And I think what is wrong with our political system is, our partisan system is, every party is looking to score cheap political points at the expense of the Dominican people. So after 4.5 years, the UWP government started the process. The current government spent 25 years in office, decided at one point that we don't need an international airport. And the only person who said that was Roosevelt Skerritt, aided by Ralph Gonzalez. And after 25 years and waste of money spent by the previous government in purchasing land, we are now dealing with something that we should have, as a country, collectively done. That is the height of stupidity, Matt Peltier. That's the height of short-sightedness. That's the height of ignorance in the kind of people we have electing as leaders, who are looking to score for themselves and not realizing every time we delay, every time we waste money, it's the people's money, the people of Dominica. And if the airport is good for all of us, then it shouldn't be about which party is in office to claim fame to building an international airport, but instead how we have moved Dominica from independence as a society with a clear vision to get from point A to point B in 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years. That is the problem we have with our system of governance. And it's a bunch of men and women who are too narrow-minded, too simple in their thoughts, and have no vision as to how to direct a country. So the caller is right. We have been messed up, and it's not just the Labour Party. I think it's our governance, UWP and Freedom. And then for Clarence to come and say, well, there was no funding. Well, if the previous government had already put things in place, they had already started the baseline process. The government that took over, it should have been easier, because you already have plans in place. You already have everything set up in place. Then get the funding, because the previous government, working on behalf of, I'm going to say it again, on behalf of the people, at the time we all agreed there was a need for international airport, should go ahead and get the funding. Instead, they kill the project. And now Clarence Christian, 20-something years later, is talking about there was no funding. Well, the government is not there for a certain segment of the population. It's there for the entire country. So if the international airport 25, 30 years ago was in the best interest of the country, then why didn't you just continue getting the funding? But instead, what happened is they were looking for points to prevent the UWP from taking credit. So we have a very immature political system with very narrow, shallow-minded people. That's why we find ourselves in a mess year after year, Matt Peltier. You have a good afternoon.
She's a high but that song, Mama mange raisin dans un feu glacé. Yeah, that's what it is. Mama mange raisin dans un feu glacé. Mama porte there. That's what Clarence is. A moose boy. A boom boom fly.
Let's try not to get personal, you know. Again, don't forget to stand for Day Wash. Tomorrow it is in the gathering and from 10 to 1. Stand for Day Wash. There's a bus that will be available from 8:30 tomorrow morning. Right, so Q9 to 5, that's next to the Granby bus stop. If you want to join the Patriots, do that tomorrow, okay? Somebody says we are all for the airport, not at any cost. So we propose to government that they should accept that they erred in the process, apologize to the nation, leave Day Wash alone, and take the required stones from the other locations and let us just move on. That's one recommendation. Well, I don't think I need Edison James again. I was trying to reach him earlier. I think Mr. Isaac did a good job responding because he was part of the engineering team. Our final call for the afternoon. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Yes, Matt.
Yes.
Matt.
You
believe they will want to take stones from the West Coast, Matt? These fellas do not have trucks. If they want to get something out of it, they would do that. But they have something trying to get out of Day Wash, so they went there. These guys do not do anything if they're not getting something in return. Clarence, you hear how Mr. Isaac Baptist put you in a place? Clarence, do not come back on New People Radio again, eh? All right.
That's no. You have to invite everybody to come to radio. Let's discuss, huh? You might agree, and somebody else might have a different story. But again, Dominic, this is how we wrap it up for the afternoon, and we'll be coming back on the radio tomorrow morning. I was styling on a Saturday mornings. So thank you for locking in. Thank you, Dominica. Let's do a little short shit. Some classics from short before we go. Thank you, Dominica. I'll be back on the radio if God is willing tomorrow. Thank you.
Oh, you're right. Your country needs you. Hope you realize.
And for those of you I did not have a chance to play your message, I do apologize. There's so many messages, huh? But I have another appointment I have to go to. Thank you.
The whole country, it is time for us to take a stand. After all, this is our native land. That is why I came back to stay, to expose the wicked things that are perpetrating. It is only time for the self-destruct. Freedom power is the TNT. The purpose and war and wants for the box. They don't really care about this country. All the scheming and writing plans are caught up with them. They are facing some multiple problems, and just as sure as the sun will rise, this government must fall. The handwriting is on the wall. Our Prime Minister, a dictator. If with him you don't agree, you can't protect in your country. Our government has no respect for
for the business community. No dialogue, they all start to know in this feeling. Taking the poor ones who have no money, while the friends live in luxury. As a family and the prime minister, and then your boy, think of figure. It is only time for his self-destruct. Freedom power is TNT. The purpose in government was for the bucks. They don't really care about this country. All this giving conniving plans that caught up with them. They're facing in some amount of the problems. I'm just as sure as the sun will rise. This government must fall. The handwriting is on the wall.